Hi everyone. Kwingana Loma, Alicia Desinzi ni Nonjai ang Lapawi Lakawik, ni ha do Napawi Walk Demi Manzi. Anisha Kisha Mokwen Ella Miliang Yong Kwaiki Skrik. So welcome and thank you everyone for joining us today. So I just said in my language, my name is Alyssa and I am from and joining you virtually from my traditional territory of Moraviantown, Delaware Nation. So I proudly identify as Lenape and I belong to the Turtle Clan. And at the end, I just said a short prayer giving thanks to the Creator for giving us this day. I am the Mental Health and Wellness Program Coordinator at the Indigenous Primary Healthcare Council, or the IPHCC. So for those who don't know, IPHCC is an Indigenous governed, cultural-based, and Indigenous-informed organization. So our key mandate is to support the advancement and evolution of Indigenous primary healthcare services throughout Ontario. So we work with 22 Indigenous primary healthcare organizations to address the physical, spiritual, emotional, and mental well-being of First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people and communities those that we serve. So with that being said, the IPHCC is proud to introduce to you Chris Church. So he's sorry, Chris, I'm not going to say this already again. We practiced earlier, but Inuvialuit and Gwich'in from Inuvik, Northwest Territory. But however, he now lives in Ontario. So he's a professional athlete, has completed in many Arctic Games, and he had a role in the movie The Grizzlies and now uses his platform to inspire others. So please join me in welcoming Chris Nishik.
Wow, thank you so much for that introduction. That was it's nice. It's one thing of reading the introduction on the invite there, but it's also a different thing of hearing it, it's nice. I try to use my platform for a lot of good and also a lot of healing as much as I can, due to the people I can connect to my story. All the stories I will tell today about the Inuit lifestyles or Inuit legacies, they were handed down to me. So if at any point, Alyssa, if you want to just say like, hey, like if you want to ramp up your voice or lower it or higher, type of thing, let me know. Again, if anyone goes through any questions, just, put it in the chat box. That'd be great. We'll get to your questions at the end, or, if you have a really important question, let them know and I'll try to get to your questions as soon as possible. I will share my screen here in a moment due to the fact that I have a slideshow. It will be like an agenda of how we will follow the conversation today. I'm going to go through the presentation. I'm going to do my storytelling. And then at the end, we'll have some Q&As, some questions and answers. Yeah. But also, like I said, I think I missed it. Again, I haven't done this before over Zoom. I've always done it in person in front of like large groups, and not being able to see faces or any other Zoom calls here is very new to me. And so, yeah, please bear with me as I try my best here. I will share my screen. The Inuit lifestyles and legacies brought to you by me. All the stories I've learned growing up were handed down to me, and I carry those with the utmost respect, and I try to harvest them and reincarnate them in my life as much as possible because they help me throughout my day-to-day life. All the elders that have passed on and shared their knowledges with me, these are their stories, and I'm letting their light and their legacy live through me. This is for them and what their voices hold, and what we should all go through. So first of all, the agenda is the introduction to the Inuit lifestyles. Number 2, focusing on the games and the strengths. Number 3 is competing, but we're also growing. Number 4 is mental health and recovery. That is, hitting those mental walls and, how we can overcome them. And at the end, it's questions and answers. The introduction, the Inuit games were not always a competition. So what I mean by that is they're a competition in some sorts. You compete against other athletes to try to beat them, but in a sense that you are competing to help them grow. So like for myself, doing the 1 foot high kick, if I was kicking at a certain height and some of my competitors weren't kicking as high, I would help them in the sense of try this, or move your back this way, or take your run up this way. And I would always try to encourage them to do better. encourage them to beat me, because that's what helps me also in the long run do better. So the Inuit, the competitions are a lifestyle of pain, healing, growth, leadership, and a lot more. Our ancestors are the real creators of now the Inuit Games, or Arctic sports, if you've ever heard of them. These games have been practiced, and they are meant to keep you in shape. Again, a lot of the games were invented due to fight the boredom of the harsh, everlasting winters. That was a big thing. Our ancestors had to deal with a lot of plains, so like it's flat ground. They were out on the seas a lot of the time due to travel, and the only way they can travel was through water in the winter, which is why they discovered a lot of sea animals as food. And they discovered some of the warmest clothing was seal, and it was very water repellent. So they did a lot of great things. And a lot of these games they're meant to focus on your mental and your physical health, because they keep you in tune with who you are, basically the mind, body, and the spirit. So if those are not aligned, these games will challenge you in very, very harsh ways. And you have to be ready for anything that gets thrown your way, because that is just what life does all the time. It will throw major curveballs. And when you have the mental health and the mental capability of working on your feet and figuring things out on the spot, that really transcends into these games and how I practice my life. So it was just over like 4,000 years ago, our ancestors traveled from the Bering Strait. Basically, they traveled nonstop, like I said, through the waters and the oceans, coming from parts of Asia. And I forgot to put in there parts of Asia and also Russia. We have a lot of Russian family members and a lot of Asian stemming from the Mongolian Empire there, which is nice. And we all share a great culture, and we all share one thing in common, that is the games. And even back then, back 4,000 years ago, the games were still being played. That's nuts to me, because these games are a lot older than I ever thought they would be. So I want you guys to basically close your eyes, and I want you guys to focus with me. And I want you guys to, when your eyes are closed, I want you to think of a place that is just flat. Think of no trees, no rocks, just all you can see is the horizon, the sky, and that's it. When you do that, I want you guys to really focus on the senses. I want you guys to bring in everything that you feel. I want you guys to involve all 5 senses of what you have right now. With your eyes closed, I want you guys to imagine the harsh winds that our ancestors had to go through when they're traveling. I want you guys to listen for that ice cracking. I want you guys to listen for that wind. I want you guys to, feel, if you can, feel the coldness. Think of a very cold place. I want you guys to, in your minds, think of these questions. Can you provide for a family with a land that provides so little? What do you guys see? Is it nothing? What do you guys hear? Is it the cold wind? Is it the ice that's cracking underneath your feet as you take steps? I want you guys to visualize with me, and let me know what you see. Let me know what you feel, what you hear. This is what I do all the time in preparations for the games, and how I go about my life, because I always visualize on what I want to do for the day, or on how I want to compete and also do really well in the games. So with that place in mind, that very barren straight land, that place I call home, that place where I can learn everything that surrounds you, because you have to know where you're from. You have to know where you're at all times. You have to know what's around you. You have to learn what's around you. And this is where our people grew and they thrived forever. And with them learning and them always adapting to matter where they were, this caused generations of knowledge that were to follow in the next thousands of years. And this is where the story begins. This is where the games really come into fruition. So with the participation of the competition, these games were meant to push you to a place where the body always wants to quit and give up. With that being said, when you are doing these games, as you can see in the picture there, you can see pain, you can see determination, you can see where that mental block is. When things get a little hard, your brain basically tells your body it's in survival mode. We need to back off and figure this out. In the games, you don't have that chance. You don't have that split-second focus or thinking. In these games, you have to adapt on the spot, whatever is right in front of you. With that, you fail a lot. And the biggest thing is where do you learn in failure and in victory? So with that being said, failure is the best motivator, not winning. Winning, you share with everybody. Failure, you share within yourself, because that takes on a big burden in your chest. You think it's always on you. But in these sports, in these Arctic sports or these Inuit games, that's not always the case. It was the real teachers of these sports that taught you that you are not alone, that you are a part of a family. Just because in the beginning it's always a family, it was always a family game. We are there to lift them up, and we are there to help them keep battling and figuring out on how to avoid those mental breaks or how to break through them. That's what we always been taught. That's why I've been taught growing up ever since the age of 4 when I started these games. My grandmother used to hold me in her arms, and she would move my legs in the 1-foot motion just to get my muscle memory in that motion. So when it came to when I can stand on my own, I can jump, it was up to me that I can actually do it. But I had it in my mind that I was able to do it. Like I said, it's the mind, body, and spirit. When they're all aligned, you can do whatever you're capable of. It's just like when you were if you were to help your brother or your sister with chores around the house, just like that. We're a family in these games. We always want to see our siblings grow and thrive, and we always want them to do better, because, like I said earlier, when you are pushing to do better, it's pushing you to catch up, and in return make you better in that process. So if I were to help a buddy of mine or a competitor, if I was really struggling on kicking 8 feet and I helped him to kick 8-2, then it's my obligation to see if I can kick 8-3, because I helped him do a lot better. In return, that I have to find it within myself to see if I can kick 8-3, and that's pushing me to do better, if that makes sense. I really hope it does. Sometimes when I get in my mind, I don't know what I'm talking about, but when it comes to the games, I'm very calm. I know what I'm doing, and everything just becomes super narrow vision. I can see the bigger picture. I love just taking a step back and looking at, in the game's perspective, on how I can control my life. Because in the aspects of the game, in every competition, there's going to be failure. And where can you learn in that failure? What can I do differently to do better? And that's what I carry on in this lifetime, in my lifetime, throughout my day-to-day life. If I didn't do something right, what can I have done differently to do it better? Or what can I have done differently to help that person to achieve a better goal in their life? If you are not in this life at least making someone's life a little bit easier or better, then you have to find it within yourself to see, maybe I need help a bit, and I can do a lot of that. Because doing these games, it really helps you push on where you are and where your limit is. These games really push my limits, and they really push me down. But knowing that I had a family behind me, I had a community behind me, and growing up with that community and family really helped me figure out what I wanted to do in life. Just like here in the next slide, that transitions into going with a healthy community. When we are competing or going through our daily lives, we hit mental blockers or walls. Our ancestors taught us that in failure, we learn more when we lose rather when we win, because it teaches us what went wrong and what we can fix to improve ourselves. Just like I said earlier, there are many things that you can do in failure, but there's only one thing you can do in success, and that is just you can share your success with everybody. But in a sense, you are only sharing the failure within yourself, because all you think is, oh, that's on me. I don't know what I did wrong. I don't know what happened. But in the games, and for a healthy perspective, failure is encouraged. It means you are growing in life. There's always loss and failure, but with the right help and encouragement, we all learn in our own way to deal with these mental blocks or walls, and we work with them in a safe way. So if you have a group of friends that you can easily go to, or a group of family members that you can go to say, hey, I'm having this really tough time. What can I do? What are your guys' suggestions? What is the best way for me to do this or handle it this way? I've tried this and this. but it's always ended up that way and that way. But you automatically just helped yourself there when you say, this didn't work, but I've learned that. For example, if I were to do just like the picture here, you can see my buddy and I, we are competing in the jump rope where we actually have to do push-ups and jump off the air doing these push-ups. Sometimes it would hurt so bad where the rope would hit our wrists and it would really hurt. Sometimes even, if you weren't drinking enough milk, you might break your wrist. But that is what is determined of us. I had to tell him every time, 1, 2, 3, up, 1, 2, 3, up. I've always had to give him those mental notes of like, I'm with you. You are with me. We're in this together. And if you fail, I fail. Because when the rope hits him, it's going to hit me sometime. So we're sharing in that failure and we're also growing together. My ancestors didn't have anything while they were growing up or trying their best to heal. They didn't suffer in their time for nothing. Just for me to question if I'm able to do whatever it is I am meant to do in my lifetime here. Basically saying that I know what my ancestors went through, but I don't internally know. I can read so much in books and hear so many stories of my grandparents or ancestors that have passed on this knowledge to them. I don't know internally what they have done or what they have went through. I just know that they have had some great deals of pressure. They've had some great monuments of lifetime where they had to deal with so much either failure or success and trying to find food for the community, not finding food, or if you are to focus on this one thing and create something to make your life easier for the next person. So with that being said, I know with the knowledge I was given, I can carry that and talk through them in good spirits as if they're telling you right now, saying, if my ancestors were talking through me right now, this is what they would say. It's not all bad, but when it gets heavy, just remember that you have generations of strength behind you, and with the right people, we can beat those walls down and accomplish anything we really work towards. Basically, you're saying, I am replacing those generations of trauma that we all, stem from and we all go to because things have been tough. But there's also that great generational strength that has been passed down to us, whether it's learning how to skin a moose, skin a caribou, or skin any type of animal where you can fully use it for clothing or winter gear. For example, skinning a seal, that's really warmth for us in the north. Generational strength where it is that you are a lot stronger because of who you are or what your last name is. There's a lot of dominant First Nations names out there, and there's a lot of dominant Inuk names out there that we all carry towards with us. And there are times where we have spirits in us because we carry those names of those very strong people. So we have those naming ceremonies, or we have those birth rites where people say, you are named up to this person because of their amazing spirit of what they did. That is generational strength. With the right people surrounding you, you can create anything you want in a healthy way. That's what we want to do here. We are going to focus on a lot of the mental health aspect of these games, and I can get into a lot of the game specifics, but the mental aspect is a huge part, because if you're not mentally ready to compete in these games, then it's going to be very hard for you in the long run to do your best. I had an elder where we focused on doing nothing but harsh workouts, and he really drilled into me the aspect of saying no or I can't. If every time I said those two words, 3, I can't is 2, he would punish me by making me do 20 push-ups and 30 sit-ups. He really abolished and demolished the vocabulary out of my brain and out of my cells. So throughout my lifetime, if I wasn't doing the games, even my day-to-day life, I'm still scared to say, no, I don't want to, or no, I can't. It's because I'm afraid of what happened afterwards. He did that because he knew there was room to grow. And every time I failed, he knew that there was room to grow and learn. He was the master of the Inuit Games. He's the one who brought the Inuit Games to the competitions back in the early 60s. His name was Edward Lannion, God bless his heart. He taught me everything he's known and I've ever known about the Inuit games. He shared stories of where he's had these group of boys and he actually thought of the idea of creating an actual championship competition in his own living room. He said, you know what, this shouldn't just be for my living room. This should be for the podium and the platform of all our people to compete in these games. And I was luckily enough to grow up with that role model because he understood of what I didn't see in myself. So I've been traveling parts of the world to do these Inuit games and to do these talks here like I am doing today, but I've never done it over Zoom or never in front of a blank screen where I just see myself. So please go along with me as this is very new to me. But he knew that I can do a lot more greater things in my life if he just taught me these few stories. And I didn't know these stories would change my life because he always told me that if you aren't able to do it, then you shouldn't be in these games. But if you are able to learn, you can be the master of these games. So I was like, you know what? Shoot, I'm gonna try to learn as much as I can. And within the span of 10 years, I learned over 350 games exist. And I know a lot of them were created out of boredom when our ancestors were in the igloos. And it's crazy to think that our ancestors did these games to fight the harsh winters and to fight some of the things to keep them motivated and to keep them strong, to keep them mentally strong, because up north, we have the 24/7 darkness for months on end. So there's no vitamin D. You don't get the vitamin D from the sun. You don't get much vitamins at all due to the harsh cold because the ground's always frozen. And in the summer, you move inland, inshore, and you're eating berries. But at the same time, it's very hard to hunt when all your life has been just revolved around living on the ice and living in the sea. It's crazy to think. Going back here, looking at all the pictures, you can see all the different games that I share personally. This game here in this picture here is, like I mentioned before, it's a skip rope. We have to do 3 variations. The first variation is where you are just in a normal skipping rope where you're jumping on your feet. In the second variation, while the skip rope is still moving, you have to work your way down to the push-up and jumping off the floor while the skip rope is still moving. And the third variation, again, the skip rope doesn't stop and wait for you. It still goes. You have to get up on your feet, start jumping again, and then slowly go down to your bum and hop over the cord with your bum, which is what we call the bum hop. And that is a competition that we do all the time. And you're always facing your competitor. But at the same time, you are pushing them saying, all right, 3, 2, 1, up, 3, 2, 1, up. Like I mentioned before, this game here is what we call the head pull. The head pull is a game where you are competing against a competitor or a family member. The headband there is sealskin or moose hide or anything that is strong enough to hold 2 large men apart and still pull and not break. This game here represents the type of lifestyle where you would be carrying a large amount of weight out on the land, and you had to, and your arms were tired from carrying everything. You would strap the strap around your forehead as you were carrying it in the back. And if you want to climb up a hill, you can use all 4s of your hands and your knees and your feet, and you'd still have the sled attached to you on your head because it's a lot easier to go up a hill with your head being forward rather than it being on your back and pulling you back. Because if you keep your head down and you work, you will get to that certain point, which is where a lot of great sayings, put your nose to the grindstone, put your head down and work, really comes into play, because that's what our people did all the time. When your head was down, it wasn't able to move back and hurt your neck or hurt your back from moving back on a sled, which is what transcends here into the head pull. Again, here, one of these pictures here, you can see them doing the 1-foot high kick. This game traditionally is where you jump off 2 feet, you kick with 1 foot, and then you land on the foot you kicked with only 1 foot. Now, personally, this is my favorite one because I hold I used to hold a record in it, but not anymore. It was not obliterated, but it was someone beat me. I was competing and I kicked the record of 9 feet 6 inches, which I was very jazzed about. I really loved, and it made me feel good. And then the record hasn't been broken for about 45 years since the last time someone broke it. And the past record was 9-2. And someone came by a month later, a month and a half later, kicked 9-7. So that was a great month and a half, I would say, for my life. But I was very happy to see that he did what he did. But the best thing was is I learned a lot from him on what he did in the preparation of that, working out wise. What did you do? What were your ideas? What was the plan going into it? That's the 1 foot high kick. And here is just another skip rope variation where we had to do the same thing as the last picture. These games are meant to always use every muscle in the body. Always, 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 always. They use every muscle, just like we do in every day. We use every emotion that we have to figure out on how we can go about our day and how we can health in a very healthy way deal with the day. That's how it transcends into everything. These games are meant to help you every day, not just in the games competitions, because our people, my ancestors, had to focus on living, surviving, being healthy, moving, and adapting. All these things are comprised into the competition, but they are also meant for you to see the bigger picture and let them know that this isn't just a game. This is a life that I have to live. It's a lifestyle that I have to use in a very healthy way. Oh, sorry, I got a question here. Welcome, Chris. My family on my mom's side is Gwich'in, and my mom was born in Aklavik. Most of my extended family, who are mostly Gwich'in and Inuvialuit on my mom's family in Inuvik, lives in Inuvik. Excited to listen today. That's amazing, Lori. I've been to Aklavik numerous times because I had to help some kids, practice to them, train them a bit, and just share my knowledge of what they may not have. But it's nice that I wish I knew your mom's side of the family. I probably do actually, which is great. We'll have to answer more questions on that. Firths and Marings. Oh, I'm actually related to Marings, so that's nice. That's really nice. So that's really cool. I will open up to questions and any type of comments you guys may have. I hope I did a really good job expressing as much as I can. It is great to be here today and on behalf of the IPHCC and to do this conversation because it's not told enough. I wish I can travel the world and travel to every school and travel to every home and tell them that you're not alone. There are people that express their feelings just the same way, and I wish I can be there to help everybody in a very healthy way. And it's nice to hear that people actually want this to be told. Again, these are my stories. These are the stories that I have been told, and I had the privilege of accepting the knowledge. And I still to this day I have tons of questions. I'm not here saying I'm the healthiest person ever, but I'm here saying that there's a starting point, and it's nice to be where I'm at today, no matter what. And with a little bit of help, you can be there too. Don't forget that you have a lot of generational strength. So don't forget that. Thank you guys so much. I will leave it open to questions and comments. So one question says, can non-Inuit participate in these games? Oh, I would say so. Yeah, I love when everyone joins in, no matter the race or ethnicity. It just brings more culture, and it shares a lot of wealth that people enjoy doing these games. And if we can share these games in a way that they are respected and that they are well taken care of, and it travels that distance, I'm very happy about that. No matter who's playing the games, because they're meant for mental health stability and happy times, and just a friendly competition. So it's nice. How to know the schedule when these games are happening so I can go and watch. So that's a very difficult thing. If you have a very unlimited wallet. There are games everywhere. I traveled to Alaska. I traveled to Greenland. Haven't been to Russia yet. I would love to. I would love to go there and play the games there because we do have some Russian family members over there, as the Inuit ancestry. But if you have deep pockets, not you get to travel to beautiful places to see these amazing, rich cultures just battle it out. I know we always have the running joke. It's the Inuvialuit against the Inuktitut and we Nunavut and against Northwestern, and it's the best to have these healthy relationships where we can say, you know what, I can't wait to see you next year, but at the same time, I'm coming for your record. I just need your help. So these games are they are hosted everywhere in Alaska, Greenland, Alberta, Yukon, Northwest Territories. We are hosting one here in Ontario in February. Actually, we are having the Ottawa region represented in the Inuit Games perspective, and we are hosting a championship for the Ottawa youth here in Ontario. And I will be planning the games for that, and the company I work for is hosting it. So I can't wait for that to happen. More questions here. Are the games held in other places in addition to the North in Canada? Yeah, they're held everywhere, like I said. In the Yukon, Alaska, I guess Alaska's in the States. Yeah, Yukon, Northwest Territories, Alberta, here in Ottawa now, Ontario, a lot of parts in Ontario, because if there is time and place, I can travel to any place in Ontario and really start things there. Another question here: where to see the schedule for Ontario games in February? The schedule would be on the Tungasuvvingat Inuit Facebook page. I will type it in here now. Facebook page. I typed it in the chat there. That is the company I work for. It's we have a Facebook there, and that is where you can basically go and check out the main events. I do host myself a youth night, like it did say in the intro there, where I do show kids the Inuit games on a weekly basis. They show up every Tuesday. We have dinner. I teach them how to make food. I teach them the Inuit games. Yeah, so you can easily check out on Facebook there a lot of the opportunities that we are hosting. I do travel a lot, especially with IPHCC. They are having their gathering in Toronto. I wish I could make it. But my wife and I are expecting our very first child in December, 1st of December. If I can, find a way I can get everyone to check out or come to Ottawa if you can, if possible, that would be great to come watch these amazing youth just compete and try their best. We are all training them very hard, and we want to see them succeed. And again, I would love to create a team where we can travel to Alaska and Greenland and Russia and show them what there is out there for them. Thank you guys so much. Thank you so much for the congratulations. Thank you guys. I just want to say it means a lot that I get to do the speaking. So my son is going to school in Ottawa. What's the dates in Ottawa? So the dates are February 3rd, I believe, for the games. If it is possible, IPHCC allows, I can give my personal contact and I can reach out to you guys personally and we can see how it goes there. I will always be sure to get a hold of you. And if anyone here has youth that would like to participate, I'm sure we can reach out and figure something out. But thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for tuning in. It really, again, touches my heart that people out there really want to listen to different stories and different perspectives on Indigenous lifestyles. I wish I can do more. I dream every day that I can help everybody, and it really means a lot that I'm starting here. So thank you guys so much.
Thank you so much, Chris, for joining us today, giving the time to share your stories, your knowledge, everything you've learned throughout your journey so far. I know I learned so much, and it's always good medicine to learn new things, especially other cultures. So like learning the differences between our cultures, but also connecting from like similarities. So like through storytelling and learning from elders and knowledge keepers. So again, I just want to say thank you to the participants that joined us today during their lunchtime. I appreciate it. All the great comments and questions, engagement throughout the lunch and learn has been awesome. So Anishik, everyone, have a great rest of your day.